Hello, this is Roland. Today I want to make a special program. Today's a holiday weekend. Last holiday weekend of summer, I want to make a special program for you because many of you are not doing very well at all. Um, when I travel about and look at people, you can see just by looking at people that they're not doing well. Okay? And the people who look like they're doing well, when you get behind closed doors in their home, you find out that it's not so good. They're not doing so well either. So what's wrong? Well, a lot of things, but it all kind of boils down to a couple of very basic things. First of all, you've been misled. You've been lied to and deceived, and the people who lied to you and deceived you are the very ones that you had trusted. Um, Either they didn't know but pretended that they knew, or most likely, especially with like with your parents, for example, they just went along with what everybody else said was the right way to do things, and they believed what they were told. Okay, and um, then they made a lot of mistakes. Your parents. Okay, and now you're an adult, possibly a parent, and you're making mistakes. Okay, so now you can see that maybe you hated your parents when you were a kid. You resented them because they failed you in different ways. Or mom was too much, or she was always sick, or she was nagging, or she was bossy, or your dad wasn't there, or he was a wimp, or he wasn't there for you on those special occasions, or maybe your dad, there was a divorce and then he was gone, and so on. So you resented him. Okay. Um, so you've been see if the advice you had followed, if you had been given, okay, and sometimes we are given good advice. Okay, maybe your parents or other authorities, some of the books you read, or at church or somewhere, you heard some good advice, but you didn't follow it. Okay, you didn't follow it. Usually, good advice is kind of the old-fashioned kind of a way, and seemed boring. See, perhaps, or you were rebellious. See, a lot of us are rebellious, especially when we're young. It's actually not so bad. Sure, you don't want, shouldn't be joining gangs and taking drugs and doing bad things like that, but I mean just the idea of just trying to find your own way and seeing that there's something wrong with the way of the people, in charge. You could see something wrong, something odd, something phony, something hypocritical about it. Something didn't sit right, so you tried your own way. Okay, but you didn't know how to do it properly. You didn't know how to creatively rebel. See, there's a way of creatively rebelling, and then you become a Steve Jobs or an Albert Einstein. Okay? But instead, you rebelled angrily, resentfully. See? And so, by being angry and resentful, you went to the other extreme and then did foolish things on the other extreme. Okay? So, but then the problem with that is, let's say you rebelled angrily, then made mistakes, then you felt very guilty. Okay, you felt guilty for the resentment. That's why you were guilty, for the resentment, resenting your mom and dad and authorities and so on. Okay, but then you made the mistake of thinking that the guilt was for trying to find your own way and for seeing something wrong with their way. And so you came crawling back on your hands and knees, and then perhaps you just went the way, exactly the way they said, to be ambitious and to study and blah 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 blah. Okay, but what you have to see now, then you became exactly like the ones you were rebelling against, exactly like them, maybe worse. Now what you have to see is that most likely it wasn't that you were wrong for trying to find your own path, and it wasn't that you were wrong for seeing something wrong with the way they were doing things. What you were guilty for was a resentment. So all you have to do is let go of the resentment. That's all. Just let go of the resentment, and then you're free to find your own true creative path, like Beethoven, or Stephen Jobs, or Albert Einstein. See what I mean? Okay, so there's a lot of error out there. See, and exploitation. Everywhere you go, there's lies and deceit and exploitation. Okay, and you have to be able to see through it. Otherwise, you'll be a victim of it. Okay. Have you ever had a situation where you sort of believed somebody, they told you different things, but then all of a sudden, in a moment of clarity, all of a sudden, maybe after they betrayed you, see, then there's the, oh my God, there's a big wake-up call. Then you, in a moment of clarity, you see them for what they are. You see their lies for what they are. See, then you don't believe them anymore. You don't follow them anymore. You stand back and you see them for what they are. And a lot of times when you encounter them after you have had your big wake-up moment, now you look at them, it's like you're looking right through them. And they can sense that their lies and deceit is not working, so they try different things, trying to fool you and trick you and deceive you and seduce you. And see, it's not working. Usually they give up, leave you alone. You're lucky. Okay, sometimes it's with a partner, boyfriend or girlfriend. See, sometimes it's a mentor, boss, some kind of a guru, some kind of a leader, someone you're following. See, all of a sudden you see them for what they are. Could even be, and often it could be a legitimate type person. I mean, with a legitimate job. I mean, it could be a coach or a teacher, or professor, or like I said, a boss. It could be a coach. You think the world of the coach, and you think he's just so great. Then all of a sudden, one day, you see him for what he is. You see how he's exploiting, how he's building his own pride. See, using you and using everyone. See, a lot of people are users. See, a lot of men are users. That's why women resent men, because men are users. The average man is a user. Even if he's a decent guy and has a decent job and goes to work and comes home every night and so on, he's still a user. He uses the wife to support, the woman to support his ego. See, and he uses work to support his ego, and sports to support his ego, and his kids to support, everything is to support his pride. He's a user. A lot of kids resent their dad for that. He's not supposed to. Father is not supposed to be a user, but he is, and he's very, very wobbly. Very, his ego is very fragile, because it's built. It's a house of cards. If he had real substance, if he found his center of dignity, if he found a bond with his Creator within, with principle, then he would be solid, and he wouldn't, and he would also be humble. That doesn't mean weak people pleaser. It means not prideful. He could stand tall and be forceful and courageous, like George Washington, and yet have a humility about him, because he's not doing things for his pride. He's doing things for principle, for honor, for the good of others. See what I mean? In a selfless way. Well, okay, so a man is supposed to be honorable and noble, and but not prideful. But most men are prideful, and in order to sustain their pride, they use the woman to sustain his pride. See, his pride in his animal. See, and then his ambition pride. He requires her, see, to lie to him, and he requires her to support him in his ambition. So the woman senses that he's using her. She senses it in bed, um, everywhere. Everywhere she senses that he's using her. So she resents him for that. But then she feels guilty for resenting him, so she's extra nice to him. And then when she's extra nice to him, then he takes advantage, and then she resents him for that, you see. Round and round. But she has had experience with men, beginning with her father who failed her, who wasn't there for her. And then she went out into the world looking for love, and she found use instead. And so undoubtedly she has a lot of anger and judgment toward men. See, a woman can't help but judge a man. You look, here comes any man, and she can watch him for a minute, a couple of minutes, or 5 minutes, and then she can see there's the pride that craves support. She sees it. She sees the weakness, the pitiful, sniveling weakness. See, and then she resents that. She resents him for that. But then her resentment, see, backfires on her, makes her feel guilty. So then she's nice and supportive of him, see, out of guilt, out of resentment, out of guilt for resentment. So it's all based on resentment and judgment, you see. So you have a marriage like that where a lot of women think that, well, I'll marry him, and then he'll improve after we get married, or I'll whip him into shape. But then she finds out that her supportive love, which is what he requires, demands. If he doesn't get supportive love, then he's like a drug addict. He craves her support, and if she withholds it, then he may go out into the world. Then he may transfer his allegiance to work, to money, to the bottle, to other men, to another woman. See. So that's the way it is. That's the way the average family is. See, and then you go out in society, and society is built on this faulty relationship. See, if men loved the woman, if he loved her, if he didn't demand love from her but gave love, see, if he was the center of love because he has a bond with his Creator, so through him comes agape, motionless love. See, and then everyone respects father, respects her husband. She respects her husband. Okay, she may come to love him if she loves the good in him, the good that's coming through him. That's the same as loving God. See, and thereby she is okay. Okay, but a lot of men don't have any good in them. They're just all ego and shallow, weak creatures. See, that's why women resent them. But then some women will go to the other extreme then, because they don't like the wimpy, weak man. Because the weaker he is, see, the more angry and fierce she becomes. Pretty soon she's dominating him. So some women make the mistake of trying to find a seemingly strong man, see, to balance her fierceness that she senses coming out in her anger. But instead he turns out to be maybe violent, cruel. See, so she went from the frying pan into the fire. So both men are wrong. The weak men, the womanizing man, the people-pleasing man are wrong. The angry man, violent man is wrong. The compensating man, see. So some men, have bought into the lie that sex is love, and then they get married and they think it's going to be hog heaven, and because they have this woman supporting them, and they go out the door ambitiously to try to bring home rewards to her, so she'll keep supporting his ego. But something is wrong. See, something is wrong, and she's resenting him underneath. She wants something from him. He doesn't know what she wants. What she wants is real love, real agape love, fatherly love, corrective love. See, all egos, every ego, every person on the face of the earth needs correction from our. See, we're naturally egotistical. See, naturally naughty, not concupiscent, prideful. We get it from Adam and Eve all the way, came down to us all the way, through our parents and their parents and all the way back. So what we need is for that side of us to be gently corrected. And then some of us remain then within the bounds of decency and propriety. And then some of us, not all of us, but some of us then yearn for something more. We yearn for truth. We yearn for answers, and we begin to seek and search for answers, and then one day we begin to find answer. And when you begin to find the answers, then you never see things the same again. Now you see the world for what you'll see the world for what it is. A dog-eat-dog world where everybody's deceiving each other and lying to each other, exploiting. See, workers exploit management exploits the workers, and then the workers get a union, and then the union becomes just as bad as management exploiting. See, and everybody is exploiting everyone and lying to everyone, and there's a little love. Okay, but it won't bother you if you start to find the way back to your Creator. It won't bother you. You'll just see that's the way it is. But you won't resent people. See, your mistake has always been you resented people. You resented men for failing you, your dad for failing you. See, you resented ladies for being fierce or willful, and you resented your mom, and you resent everybody. Okay? Well, that's not good either. See, that's a form of use. Secretly resent people. See. So now what you need to do is let go of your resentment. Just let go of it. But most people are lost sheep. So forgive them. Let it go. Whatever happened in the past, let it go. Let it go. Okay? Forgive and forget. And how do you forgive? Just let go of the resentment. See that they were all lost sheep. Someone did it to them. They turned around and did to others. So just let it go. Now start afresh, moving forward. If you're the husband, see, well, then now you have to do a little soul searching and do a little bit of basic boot camp, basic training. And there's no better source than to watch my videos and some of my audio and read my books. Okay. You get an idea what's required of the man. You'll see that the man has to be, he's like the captain of the ship. Steady as she goes. And the more other people are emotional, the more he is calm. The more other people are naughty, the more he is principled and honorable. And he stands for something. He's not a people pleaser. He's not weak. He stands for something, but with a twinkle in his eye. Okay? So he's lighthearted and cheerful and fun to be around, but he also has a stern side. What's right is right, and fair is fair. You see what I mean? He's like just a good father. That's all. Good dad. And a good husband, and he's there through thick and thin. And all the egos will try him, and he will be patient and long-suffering. Okay, always cheerful, standing for what's right, but with a twinkle in his eye, and then people will respect him. Okay? And at first it may seem they'll moan, they moan and groan. Moan and groan about, oh, Dad is, won't let us go out until midnight, and won't let us all have our own iPhone, and won't let us play video games all the time, and blah blah blah. They'll complain, but deep down inside, you know what? They like it. They like having a good dad who is concerned and not weak. See, the whole world is pulling him in the other direction. There's a cute story about a little boy. He's pulling on a great big weed, great big giant weed, big as he is, okay? His dad comes along and says, son, you need some help pulling out that weed? And the little boy says, yeah, I sure do, Dad. because the whole world is pulling on the other side. Okay. Well, that's pretty much the way it is. The whole world is pulling on the other side. So dad has to stand for something, clearly stand for something, and people will respect him. And amazingly, his wife, of course, now, if she wants to be in charge and she basically hates, she's a permanent man hater, okay, which there are such people. She just develops such a hatred of men deep, deep down inside that should he start to get better, should he say, I haven't been the man I'm supposed to be, I failed you, you know, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But from now on, things are going to be different. And then after that, on with the show. And now he starts to do what's right. Okay. Um, most ladies will be happy. First, she won't believe that it's true. She'll think it's just another trick, another ruse, another way of him getting her to feel sorry for him and support him. But as the weeks and months go by, and she sees that he means it, then she might accuse him of, when he seems to be more aloof, more fatherly, she'll accuse him of having another woman or something, and he just lets all that pass, goes in one ear and out the other. See, so she'll test him, but you know what? Most women, they'll test him, and deep down in their heart, they're hoping that he'll make the grade and won't fail, won't be found wanting. See? So then eventually he'll be happy ever after. The kids will respect father and love him, and then she'll respect him and perhaps also love him. It can be just beautiful. Okay? On the other hand, if she's a real man hater, and then she really hates the man's authority, natural authority, because he's close to God, okay, then she might take off, see, find some other man that she can shack up with or something. Well, so be it. So be it. He has to be there. Okay, if there are kids, then he's there for the kids. He continues to function, goes to work, takes care of things. Okay? See, now for the lady, if you begin to wake up, you see your husband is weak, so on, don't resent him. Okay, don't resent your husband. See that there's a good chance that you're part of the problem, because see, okay, first of all, he required you to be a little bit seductive and a little bit naughty, and that excited him. Okay, so you played the Eve role. Okay, you played the Eve role. Okay, but maybe now now that you're married and now you don't want to play that role anymore. Okay, well then just don't play it anymore. Okay, just let your hair down and just be your regular self. Okay, but don't resent him. See, that's the most important thing. First of all, if you don't resent your husband, if he's a good man, then appreciate what's good in him, and don't resent him for his mistakes or his weaknesses. Maybe he can find himself. If he's not a good man, then don't resent him, don't hate him. See, just do the best you can. Do the best you can. Okay. Use whatever resources you need. If he's really not a nice man, doing bad things, or drugs or something like that, then you'll have to use great discretion. Get help, professional help, and any whatever is available. See, it can be rough. I know it can be rough, but hopefully, most of the ladies who are maybe watching this video, your husband is an okay guy. He's not a criminal or drug addict, just a regular guy. Well, in that case, if he is, then like I said, appreciate what's good in him if there is some good. If there's no good, then maybe there isn't anything there to be appreciated. But anyway, maybe there's probably something. And don't hate him for his weakness. See that see that undoubtedly your father wasn't there for you, and so you resented your dad, so forgive your dad, your poor old dad. He was confused, the world was too much for him. And notice how you tend to transfer your judgments, your resentments, see, to all men. See, it's like if somebody is upset and scared and by one dog that barks at them, see, well, then they react to that one dog, and then after that they react to all dogs. So if one man was not good, see, then there's a tendency to resent all men or judge all men. So watch out for judgment, okay? And and don't give your husband too much of a hard time, okay? Don't give him too much of a hard time. If he's in error, then point it out. You don't have to go along with. See, in other words, if he's when he right about something, then cooperate with his what is right instead of giving him a hard time over everything. Okay. But of course, if he's not right, then of course you need to speak up and you know dispute the issue and find out what the right thing to do is. You see. But you don't want to be giving him a hard time over everything. If he's right, then don't fight him when he's right. See a lot. See some people. See some ladies, for example, when her husband, tries to do what's right, maybe he doesn't do it perfectly, but he tries. Then she fights him on that. But then when he's doing something wrong or something that's not good, then she goes along with it and is supportive of. See what I mean? Totally backwards. So watch out for that. So give him a little space, back off, give him a little space. Maybe he can find himself. Maybe there is some good there. If he found himself. See, if you're beginning to wake up, and then if he begins to wake up, well, it could be beautiful. Then you have two aware people. It could be beautiful. It could be a marriage made in heaven. Okay? Instead of a marriage made in hell, which is what you see all around you. Okay? So, hope you enjoyed today's little lecture. Oh, and you adult children of parents who divorced or fought or didn't do so well, just don't resent your parents. Okay, don't resent. You can read my books and listen to my lectures and so on. Then you begin to see what happened. Oh, you begin to understand. Oh, it's Adam and Eve, and my dad required her support, and she resented him for that. And he was wimpy, he was weak, and she resented him for that. And but you'll see how it all went. Oh, you'll see, and then you won't hate him anymore. You'll have compassion. Okay. And by not resenting, you are free then to be centered, to become enlightened, and to move forward. And you won't have to pass on the legacy to your children. See, the buck can stop with you by becoming enlightened, by letting go of resentment and judgment. You become free to be a good parent, good mom, good dad, good husband, good wife. My name is Roland.